Hello, welcome if you're new, welcome back if you are not. First things first, we are back. We didn't upload a video last week. To be honest, life was just getting on top of us a little bit. We both have full-time jobs and we've got this YouTube channel. We're obviously renovating a house at the same time. And we have a street food business, which lays pretty much dormant over the winter, but now we're ramping back up into summer. That's starting to open back up. There's a lot of emails and organization and stuff that needs to happen. So yeah, basically life got a little bit crazy and we needed a week off. But we are back. We won't be taking any weeks off anytime soon. And I've got some really exciting life updates, exciting, terrifying life updates that I will share with you later in the video. Right now, there's two things I want to share with you. And number one is just to thank you so much for all of the comments and advice that you gave on the kitchen. We now have ordered that. We made a lot of changes thanks to your guys' comments and things to think about. So yeah, I can't thank you enough for that. I honestly think our final kitchen design is 100 times better than it was, and it was all down to your comments and your expertise and your advice and your suggestions. So just a massive, massive thank you for that. We are even more excited to get that kitchen than ever. And then number two, we've got a bit of a change of plan, but I want to explain to you why we're doing what we're doing. So all of downstairs is now good to go. The hallway, the living room, the dining room, the kitchen, all of the cupboards, everything's plastered. And so where before we were going to go on this crazy rush to try and get the living room, dining room sorted, the weather started to warm up a little bit. And so as we've kind of been half-arsing the lounge and dining room and starting to think about the garden, we realized that we're going to have a lot of garden materials and dirt and mess and sand and MOT and stuff, basically, that's going to have to be brought through the house. And so we made the decision that there was kind of no point getting cracking or making the lounge dining look beautiful, particularly getting stuff like flooring down, if we were then just going to mess it up when we did the garden. Now, I know there's probably ways to protect a finished room when you do the garden, but the amount of bumps and dents and dirt that I can even see up here in this space that has no renovation going on, I don't trust us to take the best care of our home. So we're doing a little bit of a pivot and we're super excited about it because it means that we can just focus on one room for multiple weeks at a time, which to be honest, we've never been able to do. I've spoken about this in the past, that the most daunting or overwhelming thing about a renovation is that you're doing such small things in so many different areas that you feel like there's never any progress. We painted our downstairs study about 8 months ago and it's still a very, very dirty tool room and nothing's been done to it. So it feels super slow. So the idea of working on one room until it's finished is now super, super exciting to me. So for the sake of simplicity, we are going to move onto the garden. We're going to get the whole garden done. We want to get the patio laid. We want to get grass in. We want to build planters. We want to bring plants in. We've got a shed. There's loads. We've got so many different things that we want to do. And then once that's done, we're going to move on to the lounge diner while we wait for the kitchen to be delivered. And then while we're laying the flooring in the lounge diner, we're also going to lay the flooring in the kitchen. So when the kitchen gets delivered, we can just chuck that kitchen straight in and downstairs will basically be done. So that's a very long-winded way of saying that I'm now super excited that we're going to be able to be doing renovation series. So for the next 3 or 4 videos, we will be going through the entire garden renovations. I'm super excited. I cannot wait. Tom and I are such outdoor summers people that the thought of being able to sit in a garden soon and potentially entertain in a garden, have a barbecue, it's a really, really good feeling, and we're feeling so excited and so ready to work on this next area of the home. So step 1 is finding patio tiles. And so as we speak, Tom is actually on his way to a place, a stone yard. I don't know what they're called, but he's basically looking at some outdoor tiles. So Tom's brought back the samples, kind of reddy tones, a little bit more of a beigey tone, still quite red, grey with a bit of yellow, and then super grey. And I think we're both loving this one the best. It's kind of similar to the tiles that we've got in our bathroom upstairs, and we love those. And then in the brochure, it is this one here. So it's going to look like that there, which I quite like. Something we never really thought about when buying this house or just buying a house in general was whether or not the house had side access. And I think the first time you buy a place, or at least when you're renting a place, you never think about whether or not that's important. And it's only now that we're realizing just how important that is. As I already said, everything that comes into the garden has to come through the house. But because it has to come through the house, it means that no machinery or anything can fit through. And so what that basically means is that we have tons and tons and tons of MOT and sharp sand and soon to be patio tiles that we've got to carry through this entire house. We've even got a bunch of MOT in the back of the van right now. So getting that through is the next job. We have somebody coming this Saturday to start laying the patio, and obviously the last thing we want to do is get a brand new patio and then cover it with paint. So we've had to make a split decision. We've been thinking for a while whether or not to paint our fence panels. Obviously the ones at the back belong to one neighbor, the ones on the right hand side belong to another neighbor, and then the brand new ones on the left belong to us. So they're all the same fence panels, but they're completely different colors. And it does just make the garden look a little bit in shambles. It's not really matching. So we did think for a while about painting them. Then we thought, let's just get the garden done and decide if we still need to paint them. And then we just thought, do you know what? If we paint them once the patio's down, we're going to ruin the patio. And so we're just gonna give it a go today. Something to note, if you are gonna paint your fence panels, you do need to check with your neighbors, because obviously our neighbors do own the ones on the right hand side and the back. We can paint ours, no problem. Both of the neighbors said yes, which is amazing. And 3 guesses what color we're going for. It's obviously black. So we just picked up this Ronseal 1-coat fence life. It is set to rain all week, but this does dry in an hour. So it's not raining today. We think we can get it done. Yeah, it's gonna be a interesting task. Also just picked up a shed and fence brush, super big. One thing we need to be really, really careful of is not letting the black paint run through the gaps into our neighbors' fences, because obviously their fences are still going to be brown. So drips down aren't gonna look too good. And we don't fancy ruining their fence or replacing their fences. So yeah, one thing to keep in mind. Let me show you the garden as it currently stands. As you can see, the ones on the right here are kind of a little bit gray, and that's because I believe they get all of the morning sun. And then the ones at the back here are a lot darker, I think just aged over time. Then these are ours, brand new, bright orange. Not the prettiest, but as you can see, they are all the same fence. So I think if we paint them all the same color, they should look really good. One thing I am quite conscious of is that we've just put these kind of black aluminium doors in, and by looking through the glass of the doors onto black fences, you're actually gonna lose a little bit of the impact of the doors, but don't worry, we've thought of it all, and this is what the plan is. Basically, on the back here, we are going to have kind of tall plants, or we're going to get ivy to grow down, which could look really cool. And then all along this side here, there's going to be plants as well. So if you stand back here, you will just see plants. If you walk here, you're going to see plants. And then in this back corner here, there's going to be a shed. The shed will be black too, but I think we'll do some cool stuff with it. And obviously, you've got all the greenery poking out the top, which should look really good. So to get the shed done, first step is to brush everything down, all of the spider webs, all of the dirt, all of the grime. You've got to give it a really good scrub, or not scrub, brush with a dry brush, just to clean it all off. Step 2, you want to protect all of the posts. So we're painting the fence, but we're not painting the concrete posts. So we're just going to get newspaper, tape, whatever we need, tape all of that up to protect it, and then, and only then, can we get painting. I'm actually working today, so I've got away with this job, and Tom absolutely hates painting, so I will leave you with him.
I think painting fence panels is a bit different though.
How so?
I don't know, a bit more excited for this job than painting walls, but maybe because I've never done it before.
Yeah, I feel like the interest is going to wear off pretty quickly.
Yeah, you'll see me do a couple of fence panels.
I'm done.
Yeah.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6.5. Oh no, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 fence panels.
tiles have arrived. And it's another thing to lug through the house now. So I've got about, I reckon, 60 tiles in total. So that's my workout for today.
So while that's happening downstairs, I thought I would bring you up here and talk you through a little bit of a life update. As I think I've already said, for those of you who don't know, Tom and I have a street food business on the side. It's never been anything too big. We started it outside of uni and we've just done it on the side as this little passion project. In the year of 2020 though, we did decide to quit our jobs and pursue it full time. We wanted to just do 1 year of working on that in the summer and then traveling in the winter and seeing, you know, if it was financially viable, if we actually enjoyed it as much as we thought, and it was something we could realistically see ourselves doing for a few years. Of course, the pandemic changed those plans, as it did for many people's plans. Now, what that means is that the last 2 years haven't been the way that Tom and I envisioned our lives going, but I can honestly say that I could not be happier. I feel like getting this house was the absolute best decision for us. I think it's been such a learning curve and such an interesting couple of years. I think we've managed to spend more of our 20s with our friends, which, looking back, I now feel super grateful to have had. So, you know, everything worked out. However, what it did mean is that this summer is actually going to be the first summer for a lot of festivals that they've traded in over 2 years. And it also meant that we had a lot of the festival offers that we had from 2 years ago was still valid this year. And so we kind of had to make a decision. We either turned down a lot of the festivals and only did some that we could do within our annual leave, or something had to give. And we have come to the very stressful decision that Tom is quitting his job. He's handed his notice in. He'll be finishing his job in the next couple of weeks. And yeah, he will be doing street food full time, which is very, very terrifying, very, very scary, but very, very exciting. And I think it's just such an interesting thing for us to do and at least, you know, try once in our lives. That, of course, does mean, though, that we are going to have one salary combined between the two of us. Now, of course, the ideal scenario is that festivals do super, super well and we don't have to worry about money, but there's also a real chance that it's not as profitable as we think. And so I basically just wanted to share this with you. We've just reached a point in our lives where we think, you know, you gotta grab life and give it your best. And that's what we're doing. And it's terrifying, but it's very exciting. Anyway, worst case scenario, Tom could always get a job in renovation because he absolutely loves it. And speaking of renovation.
So as Autumn's mentioned, I have handed my notice in. I was really nervous at the start, but I'm actually super excited now. Like, I've got such a big plan for the summer with the street food, and it also means we can actually get the house down a little bit faster. Eventually, the plan is to run some of the operation from here. Obviously not right now. I think trading standards would be horrified if we ever try to prep some of the food in here. But long-term plan is to be able to do it from London. And for that, I'm going to install a few more things outside. The first one being a outdoor water tap. One is really great for filling up water for festivals, but again, it's also just good to have outside if you want to water plants or wash paintbrushes and you don't want to ruin your brand new kitchen. And the second thing is power to the back of the garden. This is where we want to put a shed, and yeah, it'd be just really good to have the power out there for lighting, and also if we ever want to have like additional fridges, which again could be really good for some of the operations for the street food business. What you do need to have when wiring cable to an outdoor point is you need like an armoured cable. So I bought that from Screwfix or Tool Station. I think it's about £50 for 25 metres. I think it's more than enough. But now got to just get digging and bring it all the way to the back of the house before the patio guys come. Got this armoured cable. I'm going to connect it to one of the sockets in the kitchen, and I've just basically dug a little trench. I'm going to reel it all the way back to the back end of the garden before the patio is laid down.
You look like such a builder right now.
Really? I probably don't look like a builder like this.
Tripping.
first slab is going down.
We're too shy to watch them in the garden, so instead we're creepily watching them from the 3rd floor.
So far so good. Like I said before in a previous video, I can always trust tradesmen who bring the right equipment. So these guys have got cement mixer, crusher, MOT crusher, I don't know what it's called, but they've got a lot of equipment, and I think that's always a good sign. So I'll show you what they've done so far, but what they basically have to do is, I've already dug out a lot of the soil, so it's a little bit lower. Then they put a sub base of MOT, and they crushed it, and then they put a dry sharp sand mix over, and then just a bit of a wet mix on each of the tiles to get that extra suction. Really, really happy with it. You saw earlier us painting the fence panels. We tried to do that before laying down the patio, just because we didn't want to get any black paint on the patio. I know we could put something down, but it was just extra effort. So we thought, well, let's get ahead of ourselves and do that. However, we did get a little bit lazy because, yeah, painting fence panels is very long. It's quite sore on the wrist. So in the back corner where the shed is going to go, we're not going to paint that because that will be hidden. So, and then again, we're going to paint the shed black, so it all kind of blends in. Right now, just black. It does look really good, but I think once you bring grass into it, plants and all the greenery, it's going to look superb.
And then the plan now is just to basically stay one step ahead of the guys who are doing the patio. So they're going to be making their way down the side of the house next, so I'm just going to get all of this side done. And then because that side over there is going to be grass and then a little bit of patio, I'm going to move on to that last. So yeah, just to save the patio or save us from accidentally dropping black paint on the patio, which I wouldn't put past us. We're just trying to stay kind of one job ahead of them. That is us done for this episode. I want to thank you so much as always for watching. I cannot wait to come back next week with another garden video, and you can keep watching the progress happen. Let me know if you've got any comments, thoughts, opinions in the comment section down below. We upload videos every Wednesday, so if you're not yet subscribed, please do. Thank you as always for your time, and I promise I will catch you next Wednesday. Goodbye.